Okay, so how is everybody? And we have some very exciting news that was released just earlier today. And that is that Ghostface has been announced officially for Mortal Kombat 1. Now, we knew that Ghostface was going to be a part of Mortal Kombat 1 along with Conan the Barbarian uh, being played by Schwarzenegger, the T-1000, which was the Terminator in the second Terminator 2 movie. He was the one that was the Liquid Terminator. And Ghostface was announced. So these are special surprise dates that they're coming out here. So let's take a look and see what the trailer has in store for us. And then we are going to go through and, pick through it and see what's going on. And then bring a little bit of history and everything to what is going on in this trailer.
Do you like scary movies?
Oh, wait 1 second there. I can still hear Street Fighter in the background. Okay. There we go. Oh, you saw the Scream remake. Very nice. Yeah, I heard it's very good. It's in New York. There's a lot of emphasis in the subway system. Yeah. That's really cool. That's really cool. Here, we're going to talk about all of that.
Do you like scary movies?
He's a dude with a knife!
What's your favorite scary movie? What's wrong? Afraid of a little jump scare?
Very neat. So what they're doing
Here's a smart idea.
is
This election season, be a
not
Pennsylvania energy voter.
necessarily
And show your support for our natural gas industry.
They will not escape.
I'm trying to figure out how to go backwards here. So they're not giving away too much on how the character is going to play or anything like that. But a lot of it is mostly that they are doing, these are movie clips, right? So these are kind of like the reels in it. No doubt the one with Johnny Cage was going to be a fatality, I think. Fatality or fatal blow. I'm thinking the fatality. But so let's go through this. Hey there, what's up? Yes, it's a teaser. Yeah. So let's go through. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I have my little Ghostface t-shirt on too. So let's go through and we're really going to take this apart and then we're going to see what is going on in this release here.
Do you like scary movies?
Okay, so the first thing we're going to see is this is the Ghostface mask. That's the devil mask. So that's the first one that they show, is the Ghostface devil mask. No, wait, I'm sorry. They have the traditional one first. Yeah.
Do you like scary movies?
Oops, that's not what we want. Okay, so traditional Ghostface comes through first. Classic. And then they have the devil one. Interesting. That's okay, so that's classic. And then the devil. Oh man, Johnny's gonna get it. Okay, so this is very interesting. So then they have here, and this is more customized for Mortal Kombat. It looks like a scorpion ghost face mask, which is really cool. I like that. It's a really cool custom touch, right? Then here, this looks like a cyborg ghost face mask. So he has these red light eyes, that look like they could be, like I said, lights or lasers. And then he has some sort of cabling and wires around his mouth here. This almost looks like it could be a piston there. Very interesting. Huh. So no doubt these are the costume options. Yeah, so that's your traditional classic ghost face mask right there.
Your favorites.
This is either part of the fatal blow or the fatality here.
Favorite scary movie.
Very nice. This one, of course you have the blood around the eyes for the other one. Right there. And then here, this is sort of like a scarecrow type of option with the burlap. They're both going, oh my goodness. Now, the fact that there's two ghost faces there almost makes me wonder if one's a ghost face and one's a cameo. Which could be a thing. Very nice. Oh. Looks like we have another homage face here, perhaps to Baraka. It does look like a bit of a Baraka mask, Baraka ghost face mask. Yeah, that could be. Very nice. Very good. Very neat there. There was always two in the original Scream. Yeah, they worked together. May just pick up Cage. Stunt double function. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. That could be. That could be. So let's look at this here. There he is. There he is. That's a classic. All right, so Scream. Here we are. Okay, Scream came out originally in 1996. It was owned by, and it still is, by Dimension Films. I remember when this movie came out, it was a very big deal. The way that they did their marketing, the way that it was put out in the theaters, was huge and had a ton of momentum behind it. Now, the actors and actresses that were in this movie were all newer actors and actresses, and we'll go into a little bit of that, and then we'll go into the true history of Scream also. But Dimension was very good at taking different movies and things and basically putting a ton of money into it, and a ton of money into the props and their makeup and hair and everything, and then their production and their editing. And Dimension movies really went into all of that to the point that if you watched a Dimension movie, it was so, I used to sort of laugh, it was so perfect and just high quality. And when I say that, I mean even for the actors and actresses, they would be wearing clothes and trying to be like, oh, we're just regular kids going to a regular school. And I think, man, I could never have those kinds of clothes going to a regular school. Your hair was that perfect. The makeup, everything was just, it was the ideal. Every time I would watch a Dimension anything, it was always the ideal of whatever it was that they were trying to show. It was to the best that it could be, to be honest. Huge backing for this, and it was brand new. It was new in a sense. This was a killer that was coming out when a lot of the previous slashers had already kind of been done. So when I say that, I mean this went live in 1996 when Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I believe, was mid-70s. And The Exorcist was mid-70s. Then Michael in Halloween came out in 78. And Jason in Friday the 13th. And technically Jason's mom came out in the 80s. Then came Chucky. Then you had this core group of slashers, right? Oh, I'm sorry. And then, oh my goodness, Freddy from Nightmare on Elm Street. You had this core group of slashers that were trying to compete for the best spot, but at the same time, it was a genre that was extremely popular from the mid to late 70s through early 80s, and then the competition started to get real crazy, and people were doing things to try to be beyond and beyond and beyond, and stuff started to get, already in a slasher aspect, it's a little out there, but it started to get aggressively out there, and they were trying to overdo it, and some of the storylines weren't necessarily the best, but you're still watching your favorite slasher doing fun things, right? So at some point, Reagan, with The Exorcist, kind of gets involved in that a little bit, but she doesn't necessarily, because she's supposed to be somebody that's a child that's possessed. So she's kind of in it, she's kind of not, but she does hold a very special spot, but it's on her own, and she is also like more mid 70s time. So Ghostface comes out when these other core slashers have had quite a few amount of movies under their belts, and there was a period of time where people are kind of going, we've already seen this, and it's not as special or crazy anymore. There was a little bit of a lull there, and what happened was that Wes Craven said, you know what, let's do something, and let's make it for this generation. And he came out and had Ghostface and Scream. Now, what makes this movie so unbelievably special? And, of course, Mortal Kombat getting this and, making it a part of their game was that he's considered a new concept, but not truly, but more a next generation, and we are up with the times killer. And then we'll go into the reasons why in the movie, but as a director's standpoint, the very first scene is with Drew Barrymore. And you see Drew Barrymore, and she's in this beautiful house, and, she looks great. And she's running around, she's on the phone, and all this stuff, and blah, blah, blah. And, the killer says, do you like scary movies? And it's an iconic line. Drew Barrymore, we're immediately thinking, is the lead of the movie, the heroine. This is her, and she's doing it. They kill her in the first 10 minutes. Nobody knew what to do. It completely threw off everything. She was on the posters. She was on the VHS cassette tapes. She was on everything. They killed her immediately. They paid her the big money. They said, good job, you're out of here. And then they left it to the newer up-and-coming actors and actresses. Now, that is also a little bit ironic because in this movie, they have the Arquettes. And the Arquettes are also a more traditional Hollywood family. Okay? So they had David Arquette in here, and he had just become a police officer in the storyline, and he's trying to solve the murders. And then he continues along with Courtney Cox, who is brand new. She didn't have anything to do with anything. She was like in an Aerosmith music video or something. She was in something, and people said, she's very attractive. Let's put her in this movie. Of course, she tried out for it and everything, but let's utilize her in this. Let's utilize her in Ace Ventura. And she did. And she worked out really, really well. But she was a brand new actress, along with Neve Campbell and Matthew Lillard, and so many other actresses and actors were completely brand new. Why is this important? This is important because it builds on the core of what Halloween is. And Halloween technically is the father of Scream. And there is a head nod to that. When all the kids are in the house, they're watching a scary movie. They're watching Halloween 1978. And ideally, the core movie premise of this movie is basically Halloween based. It's Michael versus Laurie, or you could say Michael's obsession with Laurie, and that whole storyline there. they tie in Billy Loomis, who is the one of the killers in Scream, to Dr. Loomis, who was Michael's psychiatrist and doctor in the sanitarium. So that was a direct, respectful head nod to the Halloween series by having Billy Loomis and his name, the Loomis family, in the Scream series. Dimension, through Akkad, boy, his last name is Akkad, Halim, who owns the rights to Halloween, was working with Dimension around this time, and they had a Halloween movie out. I believe it was Halloween 5, the Curse of Michael Myers. The Predator, sci-fi thriller lumped in with aliens. Yeah, yeah. Halloween Kills. What are you guys talking about here? Well, we're not talking about the Predator right now. We're talking about Ghostface. So, and if we're talking about slashers, then we're saying Leatherface. We'll go in order. Leatherface, Michael, Jason. Then I believe it's Freddy. And then technically Candyman. No. Leatherface, Michael, Jason, Chucky. Chucky and Freddy, I don't know who comes before who. And then it would be Candyman, and then it'd be Ghostface. So they're more your traditional group of slashers. Yeah. And they did a great job. They did a great job with the head nods to Halloween in that sense. So as the movie goes on, and we were saying that there's ties to more updated things like cell phones, cell phone usage. Technically, there's not one killer, there's two. It's a big conspiracy cover-up, things like that. Now, some of the slashers in the past, they're not working as a team. It's just one person. And they're not using all of these additional updated items. They're just going out and they're doing their thing, and they're doing their thing in stealth. Now, stealth being very important when it comes to Mortal Kombat, because I believe you could say Ghostface is a stealth killer. When he's utilized in Dead by Daylight, he's a stealth killer. You can have him crawling on the ground. I believe one of his perks is I'm all ears. And the key with him is you can sneak around, and do things, right? And people aren't supposed to see you. I think his play style in Mortal Kombat is going to be a little bit about teleports, because he's going to want to just suddenly pop up around you, suddenly pop up behind you. I bet you anything that he's going to have a teleport move in Mortal Kombat 1. What else? What else about Ghostface? Well, I mean, the series is unbelievably fantastic. And then I noticed around COVID time, there was a real a popularity spike in the fact that they were taking different, like, styles, and they were applying it to merchandise for these killers. And I noticed a lot of things with Michael. They would have a Michael t-shirt, and they would make it look like it was an 80s Michael t-shirt with the neon colors and things like that. They had the Just Do It, but it was like Just Slash It, things like that. And then I started to see glitter mugs and all kinds of really different things. And I said, wow, that's really interesting. But they expanded it even further with Ghostface, because he's considered such a he's considered more edgy. They would have him doing like goofy things. You'd see him, with all kinds of hearts, with his cell phone in his hand, going, "What are you doing tonight?" All this like goofy stuff. I go to a lot of horror cons, and you would be amazed at the stuff they have Ghostface doing. With makeup and eyelashes and all kinds of stuff like that, to super gruesome, all kinds of very interesting things. He's an unbelievable marketing icon, really, on how they've done Ghostface in that sense. Now, if we look at, besides what the movie essence of Ghostface is and Scream and its ties to Halloween, if we look at what the true core of Scream is, the true core of Scream goes back to the early 90s for the Gainesville murders. And this actually happened. So, in Gainesville, Florida, around a college campus, there was a serial killer. And in 5 days, he killed 8 people. And what happened was, he went in and was basically a college student, and had a knife, and he went in and attacked all of these young adults. Some of them were 17 up to 24, and then there was one 55-year-old. And then there were some instances where, while the people were incapacitated or passing away, or they had passed away, there were different acts done, inappropriate acts were done to them that he did, which is also sort of built into the whole, I'm thinking, built into the whole, attraction, sexual attraction and stuff like that going on in Scream. I don't know if they're trying to, say that had been what had happened, but that's what had happened. So they ended up catching this person. The Nation, while it was happening, called them the Gainesville Ripper, which is a tie to the London Ripper, Jack the Ripper, back in England back in the day. And Gainesville murders, his name was Danny Rolling, and the police ended up getting him, and he ended up passing away in 2006. But they ended up waiting and creating, through parts of this true life situation, parts of Halloween, and then independent thought, created the Scream series in 96 from the murders that happened in the 5 days in August of 1990. And this actually happened. So, very, 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 kind of crazy there. Hey there, what's up? What's up? Dark Man. Oh, I don't know. Maybe they say I look like a lot of different people there. So yeah, it's very interesting. Very interesting there. They said in Scream itself that it's supposed to be in California. The true murders happened in Florida. And just very interesting. Yeah, very interesting. The series did very well. The series is continuing to do very well, and they are, still making current ones as of now. Um, you know, we just mentioned that one of them was made, I believe, last winter, and it did very well. So yeah, so very good there, very good. Lots of good things to look forward to. In the past, Mortal Kombat has come up with a bunch of really fun DLC crossover characters. They had the Predator in the game. They had Alien. They had Jason. There was Word in Mortal Kombat 11. Michael was supposed to be in the game. They ended up going with Ghostface for Mortal Kombat 1. Ash from Evil Dead was supposed to be in the game too. So, I bet he's going to be a lot of fun, and yeah, and something very cool to look forward to on November 19th. Yeah, November 19th there. Yeah, very good. Hmm. Oh, I have my ghost face mask right behind us too. Yeah, that's right. All right. So is there anything anybody wants to anything anybody wants to really add to any of this about Ghostface coming through to Mortal Kombat here? He is doing very well in Dead by Daylight. Yeah, a very strong killer in Dead by Daylight. Yeah. Nope. Trying to think of anything else we can add to this real quick. Oh, when the movie left the theaters, and at the time everything was on these giant cassette tapes, VHS tapes. I was little, and I went to the store and I said, "Hey, I want to put in a reserve for Scream." And of course, I was too young, so my grandfather had to, put down the reserve for it. And I just remember, because I had heard sometimes the places would get things early. So if you would go, a couple of days ahead of time, that they could, just give it to you. So I would go and go and go and say, "Hey, do you guys have it?" They don't know, not yet, and then we finally got it. And it's somewhere, I don't know where, but it's somewhere around here. I actually tried to find it and I couldn't find it, but I have it here someplace, but it's opened. Yeah, we watched it and everything, but yeah, very good. It's a very good movie. And like I said, for the twists and stuff that happened in this movie, it was something that everybody really needed. The fact that there was two killers, acting as one. They were using modern technology. It was very refreshing and a generational type of thing. Ghostface is very advanced, a very technology advanced killer, which is also very very interesting because the others sort of go more on, well, they didn't have access to all of this, but at the same time they go on more just the facts of what you would need to do, which is sort of just sneaking around and then just neutralizing whoever the heck it is that they're trying to get. Whereas Ghostface sort of sets up a plot, like a little bit of a game or a situational type of thing, and then he goes in and does what he needs to do, which is very very interesting. The other killers technically don't. I mean, I guess if I had to try to categorize what Ghostface is, I'd put him in a category with Hannibal Lecter and who else? I could see Chucky now doing things like this, but Jason and Michael never would. Neither would Leatherface. I could see Freddy possibly orchestrating all of that kind of stuff mentally, but yeah, I could see Freddy doing that. I could see Freddy doing all this, and Hannibal Lecter, Ghostface, and there was one other killer, and it was a more recent killer too. I don't remember who it was. I thought, man, I was like, that's another recent killer that I didn't mention. Who was it? It was a killer that came out in the 90s. Who was it? It was after Ghostface, though. We talked about Hannibal Lecter. Who was it? It was, and I said, they would definitely do all of this. I don't remember. Well, we're not talking about Street Fighter just yet. Pennywise. Yeah, Pennywise. Yeah, you're right. Pennywise. We could say Pennywise, maybe Pennywise could fit in with the Predator or the Alien. Technically, I could see the Alien kind of going into this category too, because or the Predator going into this category because the Predator is unbelievably advanced. I mean, the Predator's probably got more gadgets and absolutely more gadgets and everything going on. We would probably hope to advance to what the Predator is, realistically speaking. Has the ability to go here, there, everywhere. Smart weapons, smart shields, invisibility, everything else, super strength. Yeah, I would say we probably want to be what the Predator is. So yeah, that's true. Yeah, the Alien, the Predator. Yeah. Dang, there was another killer that came out around the 90s, and I said that would be another good one. Jeepers Creepers came out later. Dang, I don't remember. And it was a person, not like a doll or an animal or anything like that. No, vampire movies are really good. Vampire movies are good. Surprisingly, Gerald Butler was in a vampire movie, and then he got into Gladiator and those ones. I remember that. I remember that. Dang, I can't believe I can't. Let me look it up real quick. We talked about Candyman. We talked about Freddy. We talked about Hannibal Lecter. Huh, maybe not. Yeah, maybe. I don't remember. Huh. Yeah, I guess not. I have a funny story. So, uh, I had gone to school forever to work in the medical field, and I ended up working in it and everything for a while, and the economy was kind of going crazy, and a bunch of us had gotten laid off. So I was laid off, and I ended up getting a job at Kmart to, make some money and everything. And I was working at Kmart, and I was in the electronics department, and it was, one of those things where if there was a holiday, you're open for maybe the week before the holiday really late at night, right? Some of the days was 24 hours. So I had all these TVs, and they would let us put basically whatever we wanted on TV. We had cable. One channel would go on all of the televisions. So I had on, I don't know, like something on the Sci-Fi channel, whatever. It wasn't like a big deal, but it's just anything that looks like it's action and exciting, and then people will stop and look at the TV, and then they'll go, oh, wait a minute here, this is a good picture, I might want to buy this TV. So nobody actually pays attention to what the heck they put on the channel. You just put the channel on, and then you're stocking things, or you're selling things, or you're just going around to different departments of the store. So I had on the Sci-Fi channel for a while, and this movie came on, and it was Mr. Frosty or the Snowman or something like that. And it was this guy that was a dentist, and I think this is how it went. He was a dentist, he died, somehow his body got trapped in a snowman, and he became this killer snowman that was a dentist. And he had, I don't know how this happened, but I'm trying to sell a TV. This couple comes up to me and they're trying to buy this TV. Now my back's to the TVs, and there's probably 20 of them, and they're big. They're like really wide, and they're just everywhere. And it was probably about like 10 or 11 at night. They were gonna buy it as a gift for somebody or for themselves. I don't know. And then this nudie scene came on. And I was like, oh my God. I didn't know my back was to the TV. And they said, hey, like what's going on here? And I turned around and there was this snowman. And this lady wasn't wearing anything. And she was in this dentist chair. And I'm going, holy crap, how the hell did this happen? So then I had to try to get the remote and change it. And then all the TVs had this nudie scene on it. It was crazy. Then there were a couple of times when, no, not a couple of times, probably like once or twice, when it's really late, they usually let topless scenes go, So these people were facing me, and I was facing the screens, and then a crazy scene would come on, and then I'm behind the glass selling case, and then you're just talking and you're talking, and then you just you grab the remote. You just grab the remote and then you just start changing the channels. You're just hoping that they're not going to turn around and see what the heck was on the TV or TVs. But I do remember when the Frosty scene came on, they said, hey, did you see what's on? I turned around and it was like Frosty and this naked lady. I said, oh my God. So I changed the channel, and then they went and they actually went to the manager, and they filled out a paper saying that they thought I did a good job catching it and changing the channel, and was trying to fix the situation. I thought it was funny. Yeah. And my manager came up to me and he said, hey, he goes, he's like, did you have a nudie scene on the back on the back of these TVs? I said, it came on. I said, I didn't know that it was going to be like that. And he goes, these people came up to the front desk and were telling me about it, and they filled out a paper, and I'm thinking, oh man, here we go. It's a delinquency paper. You know what I mean? And he goes, no, he's like, they thought you did a good job. They wanted to give you props. I said, oh, I was like, thank you. It's crazy. Yeah, very funny. Oh, Pinhead. Yeah, Pinhead. That's right. Oh, it's timed out. Pinhead. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Hellraiser. Yes. Yeah, that was the other I was thinking of. I actually didn't get to see the Hellraiser movies until he was released for Dead by Daylight. When they were getting ready to release him for Dead by Daylight, I watched the first Pinhead movie. It was interesting. It was an interesting movie. Very interesting. Pinhead in Dead by Daylight he's pretty good. He's pretty good. Yeah, Sci-Fi Channel's a classic. I know, right? Yeah, Sci-Fi Channel's a classic. Yeah, very, very cool. Very cool there. Trying to think of anything else to add to this. But I do remember the thing that everybody was talking about was, number one, parents were completely blown away at how violent the movie was. But it's not violent in extended killing scenes. It's just shocking. It's a shock value. That was number one. Number two, kids loved it. They wanted to see it. They were all about it. I remember being in school and everybody was like, well, I'm going to see Scream. Now, my parents didn't let me watch any of that. I couldn't, I had to wait for it to come out on cassette and then get it then. But which they still shouldn't have let me watch it, but I was able to. A lot of kids watched this movie because they thought it was all about high school kids too, and younger kids, But yeah, it was a very, very, very big deal. Very, very big deal. People thought it was just very awesome, cool, and edgy all at the same time. And different. It was a different twist on a slasher movie, and it was very refreshing. And the fact that Drew Barrymore got killed in the first 10 minutes of the movie blew everybody's minds. Nobody expected that, and it was a game changer. And I actually remember watching some sort of a documentary or something about this, and they said her getting killed like that, they wanted something that was going to shock you right off the bat, and it did. And it did. Nobody knew what to do after that happened. So, yeah, very interesting. Very crazy there. All right, well, if anybody has anything else, then we can look to that, or we're just going to we'll look forward to Ghostface coming through on the 19th, and then we're going to play some Street Fighter there. All right. Well, I hope you guys had a good one with this. Awesome stuff there. Ghostface coming through very, very shortly. And, oh, wait. This is something actually to mention real fast. I don't know the history behind the Ghostface masks. But I do know the history behind the Michael Myers masks. This mask here may have ties to Halloween 2. There's a mask at the end of Halloween 2 where Laurie is in the hospital and Michael's coming after her, and Dr. Loomis is there. And Laurie has a gun, and she shoots him through the mask in the eyes. And shoots out supposedly both of his eyes. And the blood comes out of the mask and comes down. And in the Halloween community, that mask is called the Crimson Tears. So if you have a Michael mask and you paint the blood on it, or you professionally have, the blood put on or whatever, it's called the Crimson Tears. So I don't know if this has some sort of ties to that, but it's kind of the same. But at the same time, it's not. So, but it could have some sort of a tie to that. The Scarecrow mask, I'm not sure. I don't think this has any ties to Halloween franchise at all. Maybe it has ties to Sam from Trick or Treat. Trick or Treat Sam has a burlap head. Supposedly that has some ties to Halloween also. But I don't know any other details on that for that. Yeah, very good. That's a lot to look forward to there. Custom gear in this game. Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be very, very good. Very, very good. And I'm happy that they're leaving him in his robe for now, because you know that they'll have, a cyborg kind of build for him and stuff like that. And that gives us stuff to look forward to also. Yeah. Alright, everybody. Well, I hope you guys had a great one here with Ghostface. A little bit of the Ghostface reveal. He's going to be coming out with the DLC package on the 19th of November time. So that's a couple of weeks away. In between then, they'll have a gameplay reveal trailer. So we'll have to look forward to that. And we're going to head over and play some Street Fighter there. I will open up a lobby. I hope you guys had a great time. And of course, you know, Halloween is right around the corner there. So everybody gets their t-shirts and everything going. It's a lot of fun. I will see you guys all shortly. And I hope you guys have a great one. We'll see ya. Bye.
We'll be right back.